Hello everyone, I am Gyan and you are learning computer science with Python for class 11th. In this video we are going to learn about tokens in Python. Tokens in Python. Whenever you write any sentence in English, then individual units of that sentence are called tokens. I mean, suppose that if I write I am a Python programmer, then in this sentence there are multiple individual units. Those individual units which form this sentence are called tokens. Means this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and even this period. All these individual units are called tokens. So every sentence in all the languages are created of tokens. And tokens are made up of characters. Okay, tokens are made up of character sets. So tokens are made up of character sets and a program is made up of tokens. Like the token M is made up of two characters A and M. In the similar way in Python, we have multiple tokens, multiple individual units used to create a Python program. Okay, so let's see the definition of tokens. In a passage of text, individual words means when you pass a text through a reader, then individual words and punctuation marks are called tokens. Tokens are also called lexical units or lexical elements. So we can say that smallest individual unit in a program is known as token. The smallest individual unit in a program is known as token. Okay. For example, let's see another English sentence. Hooray! He exclaimed, we are the world champions. So this double quote, this word, the punctuation marks, the exclamation mark, the other quote, this comma, these words, comma, quote, word, 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 period, dot, and this quote. Everything are tokens. Whatever I pointed out, everything are tokens. Everything are the individual units. So all the individual units used to create a sentence are called tokens. So what kind of tokens are used in English? They are words, they are numbers, they are double quotes, they are commas, they are exclamation marks, etc. Now what the tokens can be used in Python? Tokens in Python. Python has following tokens: keywords, identifiers. Identifiers are also called names. These are the words decided by the programmers. Okay, keywords are the fixed words in Python programming language, and identifiers are the words decided by programmers. Then we have something called literals. Then we have operators. Then we have punctuators. Keywords, identifiers, literals, operators, and punctuators. These are the 5 tokens used in Python programming language. Let's see these tokens one by one. The first token used in Python is called keywords. So keywords are the words in Python having a special meaning and reserved by the Python programming language. A keyword is a word having a special meaning reserved by programming language. There are multiple keywords in Python. If you look at the book, you will find what the keywords in Python has. So keywords in any programming language, not only Python, are the fixed words. Okay, these are the reserved words by any programming language having a special meaning and cannot be used by the programmers as a variable name or as a function name, etc. things. If you want to see what the keywords are used by Python 3.9, then go to the Python shell. That means use the Python in the interactive mode and you write help, followed by opening and closing a small bracket. Press enter and you entered in the help utility, the Python's help utility. Now, in the help utility, you type keywords. Press enter and here are the keywords used by Python. So these are the keywords used by Python 3.9. These words cannot be used by programmers for their own purpose. Okay, what I mean here is these words cannot be used by programmers to create a variable. So hopefully you got the meaning of keywords in Python or keywords in any programming language. The second important token used by Python is called identifiers. Let's see what are the identifiers in Python. Identifiers, that means names. What are the identifiers? Unlike keywords, identifiers are the words or names decided by programmers. So identifiers are the words or names decided by programmers. Unlike keywords, identifiers are not the reserved words. These words are not in the dictionary of Python. These words are decided by the programmers and these words are used as variable names, function names, class names, etc. Okay, so identifiers are used as variable names, function names, class names, etc. At this time, you may not know about what is a function or what is a class, but any name which is decided by the programmers, either variables name or functions name or classes name, all these names are called identifiers. So if something has to be decided by programmers, that thing should follow a rule. Okay, because programmer can decide anything. Therefore, anything which is supposed to be decided by programmers should follow a rule. So we have identifier forming rules in Python. Okay, so let's see identifier forming rules in Python. What are the identifier forming rules in Python? If you remember in our earlier videos, we have written a program. The program was like this: a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3, c is equal to a plus b, print c. The program was like that. Here a, b and c are identifiers. A, b and c are identifiers. Why? Because these names were decided by programmers. That's why these names were identifiers. Okay. So what are the rules of forming identifiers in Python? The first rule: an identifier is an arbitrarily long sequence of letters and digits. An identifier is an arbitrarily long sequence of letters and digits. Means an identifier is a sequence of letters and digits. Here our identifier has just one letter. Therefore, this is a valid identifier. But this is not the only rule of identifier forming. We have various other rules also. The first character must be a letter and underscore. The first character must be a letter. Letter means what? Small a to small z and capital A to capital Z. So the first character must be a letter or underscore. Getting it? The third, upper and lowercase letters are different. Okay, upper and lowercase letters are different. What I mean here is the identifier apple is different than identifier apple. Okay, upper and lowercase letters are different here. Digits can be used in identifier as it has been written here, but the digit cannot be first character of the identifier. Hopefully you are getting it. The first character must be a letter or underscore. It cannot be digit. But digits can be used in forming identifiers. That means A0 is a valid identifier, but 1A is invalid identifier. 0A is also an invalid identifier. Identifiers in Python are unlimited in length. Identifiers in Python are unlimited in length. But you should always use an identifier which is meaningful. Here I have used the identifiers like A, B and C. These are not meaningful identifiers. If I use here number 1 instead of A, number 2 instead of B and sum instead of C, then those will be meaningful identifiers here. But in this case I am not using meaningful identifiers. Identifiers should be meaningful. The name of identifier should be matched with work of identifier in the program. An identifier must not be a keyword of Python. Identifier cannot contain any special character except underscore. Identifiers can contain letters, numbers, but not any special character other than underscore. An identifier cannot contain any special character except for underscore. Getting it? So let's see examples of some valid identifiers. Some valid identifiers. What are some valid identifiers? For example, my file is a valid identifier. Then date underscore 5 underscore 6 underscore 2021. This is another valid identifier. All the rules of identifier are satisfying here. Underscore ds is also a valid identifier. Only underscore is also a valid identifier. Hopefully you are getting my points. Let's see few examples of invalid identifiers. Some invalid identifiers. The first example is data REC. Why this is an invalid identifier? Because you are using a special symbol other than underscore. You are using a dash here, a minus sign here. That's why this identifier is an invalid identifier. The other invalid identifier is 29CLCT. This is also an invalid identifier because the identifier name is starting with number. That's why this is an invalid identifier. break. This is also an invalid identifier because break is a keyword in Python. You cannot use keyword as identifier. My.file. My.file. This is also an invalid identifier because you are using a special symbol other than underscore. Any special symbol other than underscore are not allowed in Python as an identifier. So these are the identifiers in Python. After identifiers, let's see about literals and values in Python. What are the literals or what are the values in Python? Literals in Python. See, whenever you write a is equal to 2, then a is called a variable, 2 is called the constant, and equal to sign is called assignment operator. Whatever is there at the right hand side of the assignment operator gets stored in the variable at left hand side. Variable means whose value can be changed. Right now a is 2 and later it can be 5.2. So the value of a can be changed. That's why a is the variable. But value of 5.2 cannot be changed. 5.2 will be 5.2 forever. It cannot be something else. 2 will be 2 forever. It cannot be something else. Okay, so 2, 5.2 are called constants. We will learn more about variables and constants in the coming videos of this series. But right now, I think you have a basic idea about what is a variable and what is a constant. Literals are actually rules of writing constants in Python or in any programming language. So literals are the way of writing constants in Python. Sometimes people treat constants and literals are two words for the same thing. But constants means the fixed values which cannot be changed, and literals are the way of writing constants. Even in your book, they have given a different definition of literals. According to your book, literals are data items that have a fixed value. So they are writing the definition of literal as the definition of constant. And they are saying that literals are often referred to as constant values. So you can go according to your book and can say constant and literals are the two words for the same thing. That means the constant values. You may find different definitions in different literatures, but that does not matter. What matters is what kind of literals are available in Python. So let's see. Python allows several kinds of literals. Python allows several kinds of literals. The first one is called string literal. The second one is called numeric literal. The third one is called Boolean literal. The fourth one is called special literal, that is non-literal. None is a special literal used in Python. None is a constant, none is a value. Okay, and this is a special literal used in Python. And the fifth one is literal collections. We will see all these literals one by one in this video. So let's start with string literals. First type of literal is string literal. If you remember, we have used a statement in our previous Python code that a is equal to 2. I told that this is a constant and there are ways of writing the constant, and that is called the literal. So this is the numeric constant. So we have used the numeric literal for it. But sometimes you have a string constant. String means a English like constant, like hello. This is a constant. This is not the numeric constant, but this is the English like constant. This is just a value which has been stored in the variable a. So if you write anything and just keep that in the double quote, that becomes a string constant. Okay, not only double quote. If you write anything and keep that in the single quote, that one also becomes a string constant. The text enclosed in the quote forms a string literal in Python. The text enclosed in the quote forms a string literal in Python. Okay, for example, A, ABC, and the text can be enclosed into either single quote or in the double quote. That doesn't matter. Double quote. All are the strings. Examples of strings in Python. So we can have either single character enclosed in the quotes, single or double quotes, or we can have multiple characters enclosed in the quotes, single or double quotes. That doesn't matter. Everything are the string literals in Python. You can use both single quote and double quote to create a Python string literal. So not only graphical characters, but non-graphical characters are also can be included in the string literal. Non-graphic characters, non-graphic characters. Non-graphic characters are those characters which are not intended to print on the screen. Those are called non-graphic characters. So non-graphic characters can also be the part of string literals in Python. Can also be a part of string literals in Python. Few examples of non-graphics characters are examples of non-graphics characters? This one. All the non-graphic characters starts with a backward slash. Backward slash followed by B represents backspace. Okay, let's try this non-graphic characters in our code. Print, I'm going to print apple. Press enter, it got printed. But if I print apple with a non-graphics character inside it, that means a backspace inside it, then what will happen? This P will be erased before printing because backward slash B is backspace. Press enter and you got it. Okay. Actually, they have not erased the previous P, they just have printed it. But if you run the same command on some other platform, the previous P may be erased. Actually, here also it has been erased, but those erasure is not shown here on the terminal. The information to erase previous character has been stored in this string, but that eraser has not shown on this terminal. Maybe if you are using the same thing on some other terminal, then the previous character may get erased. I am here on Linux, and on the Linux terminal you can see that it has shown the erased character. Okay, it depends on terminal to terminal that the effect of backslash b, that means the backspace, will be printed or not. Okay, here on ideally it has not printed, it just have included the code of backspace in the string. But here in the case of Ubuntu terminal, they have erased the previous character from the string. So this was the backspace, means the backward slash b. These non-graphics characters can be represented by using escape sequence. Okay, these non-graphics characters can be represented by using escape sequence. Escape sequence means what? Escape sequence means backslash followed by one or more characters. Backslash followed by one or more characters. So backslash followed by one or more characters are called escape sequence, and escape sequences are used to represent non-graphic characters in Python or any other programming language. This is valid for all the programming languages. This is valid for C, C++, Java, all the programming languages. Then you have backward slash R. R means carriage return. So any character followed by the backslash has a special meaning used to represent a escape character, means a non-graphic character. But how to print a backslash? Now the question is how to print a backslash. Let's see it. Suppose that you have to print backslash itself. You have to print ABCD. Print ABCD. ABCD. But you have to print A backslash B CD. You have to print A backslash B CD as it is. Getting me? When you press enter, it's not what as you expected. You have to print this full thing. Then how will you print? In that case, you have to silent the special meaning of the backslash. To silent the special meaning of the backslash, you have to put one more backslash. So the first backslash will remove the special meaning from the second backslash. Okay, so backslash b will not more have a special meaning, and here you will get your output as a backslash b c t. Okay, so to remove the special meaning of backslash, you need to put another backslash before it. Similarly, if you have to print a double quote here in between the string, then it will throw an error because two double quotes means your string has been ended here at this point. So how you print this double quote? To print it, you can put here the backslash. Backslash removes the special meaning of the double quote and you get your output. You can do it in another way also. Instead of enclosing double quote, you can have enclosing single quote, and that will allow to print the complete string. Okay, as you know that a string can be enclosed in both single quote and double quote. That's what I did here. In the similar way, if you have enclosing double quote, you can put enclosing single quote here and press enter. You have printed the enclosing single quote. That means the quote which is different from the enclosing quotes can be placed in between. There are multiple non-graphic characters can be represented by escape sequences. I'm not going to discuss all those characters here in this video. You can find it in your book or you can find it on the internet. If you feel that there is still a doubt in escape sequence, then you can ask me in the comment section. Now there are two types of string in Python. Let's see them. There are two types of strings in Python. Single line string, single line string, also called basic strings, basic strings, and other one is multi-line strings, multi-line strings. So single line strings and multi-line strings. Now let's see single line string. As the name suggests, single line strings are strings created in the single line. Okay, that means your string will be like that. Text1 is equal to hello everyone, or your string will be like text1 is equal to just a single quote hello everyone. What if you want to have a string having a new line character in between? What I mean here is I want to store something like text2 is equal to hello, then a new line character, enter, and then everyone. Can I type such a string in Python? Let's try it. So I want to type hello everyone. Press enter. It's printing nice. But what if I want a new line character in between the string? I want a new line character in between the string. I can write here /n and that will insert a new line character. That's perfect. But I want a new line character to be inserted by pressing enter, not by writing here /n. Text1 is equal to hello. I do not want to include /n for the new line here. I want to press enter here without typing closing double quote, hoping that in the next line I will type the closing double quote. Can I do it here? Let's press enter. I cannot do. Okay. So this is not a multi-line string. Even this one is not a multi-line string. Okay. If you cannot press enter while typing a string, that is not a multi-line string. Using a /n character does not make this string as multi-line string. This is still a single line string. Multi-line string means you should be able to press enter without typing the closing double quote or single quote. Then that string will be called a multi-line string. So let's see what the multi-line string is. One way to use multi-line string is you can type text1 is equal to hello, and then you have to ignore the next type enter button. If you have to ignore anything in a string, then that character should be followed by the backward slash. Okay, so after typing the backward slash, if you type enter, then that enter will be ignored. Okay, so here I have an enter inside the string. I have pressed the enter button inside the string. Okay, that's why at this time I am creating a multi-line string. So let's type everyone. give the closing double quote. Press enter. Now type print text 1. But why this new line has not been printed when I have printed text 1? Because you have ignored the enter button. You have fully ignored the enter button. Okay, by typing backslash, you have ignored the enter button. That's why for the interpreter, hello and everyone are in the same line, because new line provided by pressing the enter button has been ignored by the backslash. Getting it? So this is the one way to use multi-line string. So one way to use multi-line string is by adding a backslash at the end of normal single quote double quote string. By adding a backslash at the end of normal single quote double quote strings. There is one more way to write multi-line strings in Python. One more way to write multi-line strings in Python is text1 is equal to, you just type triple single quote or triple double quote. Both works. Let me first type triple double quote and then write hello. You can press enter here and you can type everyone. Then again you can press enter and type triple quote. When you type the closing triple quote, then you are done with creating a string. After that you print text1, press enter, and here it is. At this time, all the enter button presses are recognized by the Python interpreter. Okay, and you can do the same while using the single triple quote. Text1 is equal to single triple quote. Give a enter button. Hello. How many times you want to press enter? You can press it. Everyone. Then single triple quote closed. Now print text1. Press enter. And here it is. So another way to create multi-line string in Python is by typing the text in triple double quote or triple single quote. Triple double quote or triple single quote. So there are two ways of writing multi-line strings in Python. Now let's see something very interesting, and that is size of a string. Size of a string. Let's look at it. Text1 is equal to apple. If you want to find size of the string, then you have to pass the variable name or the literal to something called len method. Okay, means you have to type len and you have to type opening and closing a small bracket. In between the opening and closing small bracket, you type the variable name text1, press enter, and the length of your string is 5. Even you can just type here the literal directly. So let's type the literal directly. Ball. Press enter and it has 4 characters. But what about the escape sequence? Okay, what is the length of a string having escape sequence? Let's copy it and let's type backslash a. When I type backslash, then backslash followed by the character together will be considered as the escape sequence. So there are total 4 characters in this string. Character number 1, character number 2, backslash and a together are 1 character. Character number 3 and 4. In the similar way, if you write length of /n ball. Now tell me how many characters you have. 1 character, 2 character, 3, 4 and 5 characters. Press enter and you have 5 characters. Tell me how many characters this string has. This string has just 1 character, a backslash. Other backslash is used as escape sequence. As I told you, any character followed by single backslash is considered as just one character. So this string has just one character in it. Now let's say something more. Copy and then paste. What I'm going to write here is Seema's pen. SEEMAS forward slash followed by quote. Seema's pen. To print this single quote, we have to use the backward slash. Otherwise, the single quote will not be printed and we will get error. So how many characters this string has? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These two are considered as 1. So 6 characters. 7 space is 8th character. 9, 10 and 11. Total 11 characters are here. So hopefully you are getting my points. Now let's create another string. str3 is equal to, let's create a multi-line string. A enter B enter C and triple quote. See, in this string we are not ignoring the new line. So wherever we have pressed enter, that enter will be counted as one character. So we have one character, the second character is enter, third character, fourth character is enter, and fifth character. So here we have 5 characters in it. Print str3, press enter, and we have ABC. Actually, we do not have to print str3. We have to pass this str3 to the len method. Okay, pass it to the len method. And here you have total number of characters are 5. What if you create a multi-line string by using backward slash? Okay, let's create a multi-line string by using backward slash. str4 is equal to a backward slash b backward slash c in closing character. The closing single quote character, press enter, and here the new lines in this string will be ignored by the backslash. The new lines in the string will be ignored by the backslash. Getting it? Therefore, total number of characters in this string will be just 3 because new lines are ignored by the backslash. Okay, whenever we pressed enter, that button press was ignored by the backslash. So type here len str3, press enter. Oh, sorry, it should be len str4 and that will result in 3. And the length of this string is 3 because whenever we pressed enter button, that was not counted in the length, that was ignored by the Python interpreter. So this was the string literal in Python. Now let's see numeric literal in Python. The other literal used in Python is numeric literal. Numeric literals. As you can see it by name, numeric literals are used to represent numbers in Python. There are 3 types of numeric literals available in Python. First one is called int, signed integers. Signed integer means integers which have both positive and negative values. The second one is float. Float numeric literals are called floating point real values. Floating point real values. And then you have complex numeric literals. Complex numeric literals to represent complex numbers. Int means whole numbers. Float means fractional numbers. And complex means complex numbers. At this point of time, you may not know about complex numbers, but you will learn about complex numbers in mathematics. So, integers or ints Okay, ints are also called integers. So integers or ints are positive or negative whole numbers with no decimal point. Floats represent real numbers. Example of integers are 123, 256, etc. Float are fractional numbers. Floats are fractional numbers. Example 2.54, 3.14, etc. So floats represent real numbers and are written with a decimal point, means this type of decimal point dividing the integer and fractional parts. So this is the integer part of the float and this is the fractional part of the float. And the third one is complex number. Complex numbers are in form. Complex numbers are in form a plus b j, where a and b are float and j, this capital J also can be written as small j. Okay, and j represents root over minus 1. So this is the complex number. Example of complex numbers are 2.3 plus 5.2 j. Other example is 3 plus 4j. See, integers are the subset of float. Here you can easily use integer or float both. Here in this case, a is called real part of the number and b is complex part of the number. Complex part of the number. So 3 is real part of the number and 4 is complex part of the number. Okay, whatever is there with j, that is the complex part of the number. So let us talk about these literals one by one in more detail. The first type of numeric literals is integer literals. Integer literals. Integer literals are whole numbers without any fractional parts. Okay, so integer literals are whole numbers without any fractional part. Without any fractional parts. An integer constant must have at least one digit and must not contain any decimal point. Okay, an integer constant must have at least one digit. The integer constant consists of at least one digit. Must have at least one digit and must not contain any decimal point and must not contain any decimal point. Okay, means example 14 is an example of integer literal. It has at least one digit and it does not contain any decimal point. An integer can have positive or negative sign. An integer can have positive or negative sign. If you write an integer without any sign, that means if you just write 14, then an integer without any sign is considered as positive number. You can write plus 14, of course this is a positive number, you can write minus 14, but if you do not write any sign before integer, then that integer considered as positive. A number with no sign, a number with no sign is assumed to be positive, is assumed to be positive. And commas should not appear in integer literal. Okay, you cannot write something like this. This is wrong in Python or any other programming language. Okay. In the integer literal, you should not use comma. Comma is not allowed in an integer constant. In an integer constant. In some programming languages, there are two types of integers. One is called int for a smaller integer and other one is called long for big integers. But in Python 3.x, we don't have two types of integers. We have just int. That's it. And that can store anything. So integers are used to store either small numbers or large numbers. So this is what the integer literals are. But again, we have three types of integer literals. The first one is called decimal integer literals. Decimal integer literals. The integer literal we use in our day-to-day life is called decimal integer literals. Means the integer numbers consisted of decimal number system is called decimal integer literals. Means an integer literal consists of decimal number system. After that you have octal integer literals. Means the integer literals consist of octal number system. Okay, integer literals consists of octal number system. But how you are going to denote an integer literal as octal number system? How will you specify it? For example, if I write here a is equal to 15, of course the number 15 can be in octal or can be in decimal. If you press enter and type a plus 2, it shows 17. If you type a plus 5, a plus 4, it shows 19. So 15 is treated as decimal number system. Okay, if you just write number, that will be treated in decimal number system. So how to write a number in octal number system? This is the question. Okay, to do that, you have to write a is equal to, then you type 0, then you type a small o. Okay, 0 followed by small o, and then you type 15. Now this is 15 in octal. If you type a press enter, it is printing 13 because 15 in octal is 13 in decimal. Okay, and whenever you print a variable, it always prints number in decimal. So we have stored 13 in octal in the variable a. 13 in octal is represented as 15. Okay, 13 in octal is represented as 15. Hopefully you understand it. And then when you type a, we got the actual number in decimal. If I write something like this, x is equal to, I want to write a number in octal, so write 0o followed by 89. Tell me if this number is valid or not. This number is invalid because according to you, you are writing this number in octal and 8 is not allowed in octal. Okay, in the same way, if you write x is equal to 0o 28, this is also an error because the digit 8 is invalid in octal number system. So if you have to store a number in octal, you just start that number with 0o followed by that octal number, and that will be stored in the variable. After the octal integer literals, we have hexadecimal integer literals. Hexadecimal integer literals. Of course, integer literals consist of hexadecimal number system is called hexadecimal integer literals. Means how you are going to write a hexadecimal integer literal. To write an hexadecimal integer literal, that literal must be processed with 0x, either capital X or small x. Let me write it. A is equal to 0x1a. Okay, and then press enter. So I have stored a hexadecimal number in the variable a, and that hexadecimal number is 1a. Type A, press enter, it's 26. Means 1a in hexadecimal is 26 in decimal. That's why the variable is printing 26. You can again write here a is equal to 0x 10. Means I want to store hexadecimal 10 in the variable a, and that will be 16, I think. Type A, press enter, and that is 16. So we have used the hexadecimal integer literal to store in a variable a. Although we are storing the hexadecimal integer literal in the variable, but when you print the variable, you will get decimal number as output. To represent a hexadecimal number, that number should be preceded with 0x. Either small x or capital X, does not matter. Now let's see another numeric literal in Python, and that is called floating point literal. Floating point literal. Floating point literals are also called real literals. Also called real literals. Real literals are numbers having fractional parts. Real literals are numbers having fractional parts. So real literals are numbers having fractional parts. There are two forms of writing floating point or real literals. One is called fractional form and other one is called exponent form. One is called fractional form. There are two ways to write floating point literals. One is called fractional form and other one is called exponent form. Let's first see fractional form of floating point literals. Fractional point literal or real literal in fractional form in fractional form consists of digits consists of digits numeric digits including a decimal point between digits including a decimal point between digits. The real constant must have a decimal point. Okay, the real constant must have at least one digit and one decimal point. A fractional point constant or real constant in fractional form must should have a digit and a decimal point. It may also have positive or negative sign preceding it. So you can have a positive or negative sign before the number. And a real constant with no sign is assumed to be positive. Okay. Example 2.0 is a valid fractional constant. Okay. 17.5 is a valid fractional constant. Minus 13.0 is also a valid fractional constant. Minus 0.00625 is also a valid fractional constant. If I just write 0.3, this is the valid fractional constant and this is equivalent to 0.3. Okay, just writing 0.3 is equivalent to 0.3. If I write 7 point, notice here the decimal point is after the digit. This is equivalent to 7.0. Okay, this is also valid. So all these fractional numbers are valid. Some invalid fractional numbers are invalid fractional numbers are, one example is just 7. This number does not have any decimal point. So this is an invalid fractional number. Plus 17.2. This is an invalid symbol. So this number is invalid because it contains an invalid symbol. Commas are not allowed. If you write comma, then this number becomes invalid. This number is also invalid because it has more than one decimal points. Any number cannot have, any fractional number cannot have more than one decimal points. But there is a limitation with fractional numbers. Suppose that you have to write a very big number like distance from Earth to Proxima Centauri. That will be a very big number if you write that number in the fractional form. Suppose that you want to write a very small number, means mass of an electron. That is a very small number. So it will take a lot of digits after point to represent mass of an electron in the fractional form. So such numbers which are very big and very small cannot be represented in fractional form because they are too long to represent. Suppose that I have to write 5 into 10 to the power 68. How I will write it in the fractional form? It's too long to write. Okay, so very big number and very small numbers are hard and many times impossible to write in fractional form. And that's why we have exponent form of floating point literals. The other form of floating point literal is exponent form. Exponent form. The idea is that write any number in the form of x into 10 to the power y, where x is the real number and y is integer. Means x can have fractional part in it, but y cannot have any fractional part in it. It should be int. Then write this number x into 10 to the power y as x e y. And this is called the exponent form of fractional number. For example, suppose that I have a number 5.8. So I can write it as 0.58 into 10 to the power 1. I can write like this. Okay. So this is my x and this is my y. So how I can write here is 0.58 E01 or only 1. This is the fractional form of the same number and this is the exponent form of the same number. Remember that this y portion cannot be a fractional number. Okay. Here in this case, x is called mantissa, M-A-N-T-I-S-S-A, and y is called exponent. So here in this number 0.58 is called mantissa and 01 is called exponent. E01 means 10 to the power 1. The mantissa must be a proper integer or real. It can be integer or real, whereas exponent must be only integer, nothing else. Exponent must be only integer. Let's try this example in Python. Write a is equal to 0.58 E01. Now type a, press enter, it's 5.8 as we have seen. Again write a is equal to 0.58 E1. Type a, it's again 5.8. Now again try one more thing. A is equal to 0.58 small e 1. This also works. So you can use either capital E or small e. Both works. So there are few valid syntax of using exponent form of floating point literal. Let's try them one by one. A is equal to 152 E05. Type a, this is the number. Then again you type a is equal to 152 E07. But at this time don't write 152, write 1.52 and 07. So it will be 1.52 into 10 to the power 7. So type it and this is the same number. Okay. So hopefully you are getting it. Let's represent a very big number. Okay. A is equal to 128 E128. This is a very big number. Type A. It's printing 1.28 into 10 to the power 130. Okay, because they have used a decimal and increased the exponent by 2. Now you can think that how it is easy to represent a too big number by using exponent form. If you had to write that many zero, then how would have managed writing that many 130 zeros? Let's represent a very small number. A is equal to 128 E minus 128. Okay, this is a very small number. means 128 by 10 to the power 128. You can think how small number it is. 128 by 10 to the power 128. How small number it is. Very, very, very small number. Press enter, type A, and here it is. You can see how it is easy to represent a very big or very small number by using exponent form. Otherwise, you just think that how many zero you had to write, how many zeros you had to write in order to represent these numbers. One thing, this is not the exponent form, but if I write a is equal to 123, 456, press enter, the compiler does not say any error. If you type a, it creates something like this. So if you try to create an integer with comma, the Python interpreter will not throw any error, and neither the interpreter will create the integer. What it is going to create? It is going to create something called tuple. At this time, you may not know what the tuple is. Okay, but this will create a tuple with all the values separated by comma. Okay, let's see it. A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will create a tuple with all the values separated by comma. So if you provide one or more commas in integer literal or in floating point literal, then the Python interpreter will not throw any error. It will silently create a tuple and assign that tuple into A. Of course, because of comma, the Python interpreter is not going to create the integer or the floating point literal. It will be create the tuple, and that tuple will be stored in A. And of course, you have not intended to create the tuple here. We will learn more about tuple in the coming videos. So if you try to assign like A is equal to 17, comma 225 E02, then the Python interpreter will not throw any error. It will create a tuple with two numbers. One is 17 and other one is 225 into 10 to the power 2. So type A, press enter, and here you have two numbers. One is 17 and other one is 22500. So if you put comma in the integer literal or floating point literal, the Python interpreter will not throw any error. It will silently create a tuple and store the reference to that tuple into the variable. So you should take care of yourself that don't give a comma in integer literal or floating point literal. The other numeric literal is complex numbers. Complex numbers. Right now we are not going to talk about complex numbers. We will talk about it later. So we are done up to numeric literals. Let's see the another literal called Boolean literal. Boolean literal. There are only two Boolean literals in Python. Okay, there are only two Boolean literals. There are only two Boolean constants in Python. One is true, other one is false. So a Boolean literal can either have value as true or as false. Okay, only two constants are possible in Boolean. One is true, other one is false. That's it. So let's try Boolean constants in Python shell. A is equal to true. Type A, here it is true. A is equal to false, and here it is false. A is equal to true. Here true starts with a small letter, and that is not the Boolean literal. Okay, the Boolean literal true always starts with capital T, and the Boolean literal false always starts with capital F. Only T and F are capital, nothing else. If you write A is equal to true, all capitals, then also this is an L. So in the Boolean literal true, only T should be capital, other letters should be small. And in the Boolean literal false, only F should be capital and others should be small. Otherwise, if you write in other way around, that will not be a Boolean literal. Hopefully you are getting my points. Python has a very special literal called none. None. None is a special literal. Okay. None represents nothing. None represents nothing. None represents emptiness, nothing. That means none represents absence of a value and emptiness. None is also used to indicate end of lists in Python. At this time, you may not know about lists, but when we learn list, you come to know that none is used to indicate the end of lists in Python. None means there is no useful information. There is nothing here. If you assign none to a variable, then that displays nothing. If I write a is equal to none, then that displays nothing. But if you print a, then that will print none. The spelling of none should start with capital N followed by all the small letters. Like if you type a is equal to none, all capitals, it will not work. If you type a is equal to none, all small, it will not work. The none always should be starting with capital N followed by all small letters. And that's it. Apart from these literals, Python supports something called literal collections. Literal collections. But right now we are not going to discuss about literal collections. We will see it later when we proceed in this course. So we are done with literals. Now, other type of token used in Python is operators. So let's see what the operators used in Python. So let's see operators in Python. Operators. See, when you apply operators to one or more variables or constants, that triggers an operation. That means when you apply plus operator to two constants 2 and 3, it triggers addition operation and results 5. If you have two variables a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3, and you apply the plus operator in between these two variables, it triggers an operation called addition. So operators are tokens that trigger some computation, some operation, some calculation when applied to variables and other objects in an expression. Okay, means this complete thing is called an expression. 2 plus 3 minus 5. This one is also called an expression. Okay, you must have learned about algebraic expression in your class 10th. I am talking about the same. So when you apply any operator between two variables or two literals in any expression, that results triggering some computation operation. Operators are tokens. Operators are tokens that trigger some computation. That means whenever we apply an operator, that operator causes some computation. Okay, plus operator causes summation computation. Minus operator causes subtraction computation. So operators are tokens that trigger some computation when applied to variables. When applied to variables and other objects in an expression. Variables and other objects in an expression. Variables and objects to which the computation is applied are called operands. So does not matter an operation is applied to two variables or two constant or a mixture of variable and constant, it will trigger a computation. These two variables are called operands and this one is called operator. When operator gets applied to operands, then it performs operation. Okay, this operator is applied to these two operands, then the whole thing performs operation. This operator is applied to these two operands and the whole thing performed operation. So variables and constants to which the computation is applied are called operands. Okay, as we have seen. So an operator requires some operands to work upon, means the plus operator requires at least two operands to work upon because plus operator can add two numbers. So plus operator requires at least two operands, these two are operands, to work upon. There are many types of operators used in Python that we are not going to discuss in detail. We will discuss these operators in details in later videos. There are multiple types of operators present in Python. One is called unary operator. Unary operator. Few examples are unary plus. Unary plus is a plus sign which used to represent the sign of a number. It's not for summation. It's just to decide the sign of a number. That is called unary plus. Unary plus. Then you have unary minus. Then bitwise complement. Then not. Also called logical negation. This is the unary operator. After that, we have something called binary operator. Binary operator. See, unary operator requires only one operand to perform operation. But binary operators require two operands to perform an operation. So binary operator. So these operators require two operands to perform operation. Two operands are required. And in the unary operator, one operand is required. Some of the binary operators are arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators. These are plus, minus means addition, subtraction. Multiplication is represented by a star sign, the streak. The streak is present on your keyboard on the button 8. Press the button 8 with shift and that will type streak. Streak means multiplication. Then forward slash means division. Percentage means remainder. If you divide 8 by 3, then 3 to the 6 and remainder is 2. So you can say that when you divide 8 by 3, the answer will be 2. When you do 8% 3, the answer will be 2. Okay, means remainder. Percentage means remainder. And division means quotient. This one. We will see about all these operations in later videos. Then we have exponent. Double streak represents exponent. Then we have something called floor division. You don't know about the floor division. We will see about it later. After arithmetic operations, we have something called bitwise operators. Bitwise operators. Again, we have multiple operators in bitwise operators. I'm not going to list it here because that does not make sense to you. I will create a separate video on all these operators. Don't worry about it. But there are multiple bitwise operators there are multiple shift operators not multiple, in fact only two shift operators operators we have, and then we have something called identity operators. We have something called relational operators. We have something called logical operators. Apart from them, we have assignment operators, and then we have something called membership operators. So we have these many types of operators. Getting it? And all these operators comes under binary operators. Okay. So we will see about all these operators in the coming video of this session. But this is the time to start about the last token in Python, that is called punctuators. Punctuators are symbols. Punctuators are symbols that are used in programming language to organize sentence structures. Okay, that are used in programming languages to organize sentence structure and indicate the rhythm and emphasis. How you write in C? In the C program, when you have to write something, like you write like this. In the curly bracket, whatever you want to be executed, you always write inside the curly bracket. Okay, so these curly brackets are the punctuators. They organize the sentence. They organize the sentence structures. In C program, you always have to end a statement with semicolon. So semicolon is also a punctuator. It also helps organizing sentence structures. The most common punctuators used in any programming languages are the quote, single quote, the double quote, hash, backward slash, opening and closing small brackets, opening and closing square brackets, opening and closing curly brackets, ampersand, at the rate, comma, colon, dot, tilde, equal sign, etc. So these are the common punctuators used in any programming language. We will see the use of these punctuators whenever it is required in our course. So punctuators are symbols that are used in programming language to organize sentence structures. So these are the symbols used to organize the sentence structures are called punctuators. So hopefully now you learned everything about tokens in Python. Of course, every single point of tokens in Python will be explained later. See you in the next video.